What is good, everyone? Welcome to the channel. Today I'm doing a quick update specifically for foreign students who are trying to enter Japan on a valid student visa. A lot of students have been waiting a long time to enter Japan, and the Japanese government is trying to make that process a little bit better because the Japanese school year starts in April, and they want to try to ensure that as many students get into the country as possible. And as such, from March 14th, they will up the number of people who can enter Japan on a daily basis from 5,000 to 7,000. Now that doesn't mean 7,000 students, it just means entrance to Japan. But they also are going to try to prioritize student visas during this time period. So from the 14th, again, the number of people allowed entry into Japan will increase from 5,000 to 7,000, and they're going to try to prioritize student visa entries. It's not clear exactly how they're going to prioritize that, but it should be known that they're going to attempt to do so. So if you are a student waiting to enter Japan, hopefully that means your process is going to be expedited from here on in. There's a couple of other things that I want to touch on in this video. First, I'd like to just again quickly give a rundown of what the quarantine procedures are going to be, depending on where you're coming from and depending on whether you're considered to be fully vaccinated or not. And I want to just address some frequently asked questions that I get from people on the channel. So I think I'll do the frequently asked questions bit first because I want people to get those that information right away so that you don't have to wait till the end and already be typing a question that I'm actually going to talk about. So one of the frequently asked questions is, how do I get a student visa? Or any kind of visa, to be honest. I'm sorry, I can give you updates about entering into Japan. I can give you information about how to find quarantine info and all those sorts of things, but I am not an expert on how to get a visa to begin with. My channel is mostly, in regards to these updates, is for people who already have the visa in hand and they are looking to try to get into Japan and wondering when that's going to be able to happen. When it comes to getting new visas, I don't know much about that because I'm not an immigration lawyer. I'm not anyone who's really qualified to talk about those matters. And I am definitely not someone who can get anyone a visa. So please don't ask me on how to get a visa. The second most commonly asked question I get is the status of vaccination. If you are unvaccinated or if you have like the Sino vaccine, are you allowed to enter Japan? Short answer is yes, you are allowed to enter Japan if you have a vaccine other than AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Moderna, or you are unvaccinated, period. Yes, you can enter Japan, but your entry procedure is still going to involve a negative test before you get on the airplane, a negative test upon arrival at Narita, and if you're positive, you're going to go into a longer quarantine in a government assigned facility, hotel, usually somewhere close to Narita or maybe in Tokyo. And if you have a negative test when you arrive in Narita, you will still have to quarantine in a government appointed facility for 3 days. And then if you test negative at the end of those 3 days, you can enter Japan and begin your life on your visa here. So if you are unvaccinated or have like the Sinovac or one of the vaccines that's not Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, yes, you can enter Japan. Now that leads me to the summary that I want to give you regarding the whole entry procedures. What I just said, first of all, if you're unvaccinated or have the Sinovac or one of the vaccines that's not one of those three, then yes, you're going to have to go through a official quarantine period. Also, if you are from a quote-unquote designated country, a country that is considered to have corona still spreading widely, so it's still of a risk basically, you'll also have that 3 days in a government appointed hotel facility, that quarantine, so you won't be able to go to your residence. or to a friend's residence or anything. You're going to have to go to an official quarantine spot unless you are fully vaccinated, which means you have 3 doses, so the 2 doses plus the booster shot of either Moderna or Pfizer. Basically, that's what you can do. Basically, that's how you can get out of that 3-day official quarantine. You're still supposed to quarantine in your own residence or your own place for 3 days and then have evidence of a negative test at the end of those 3 days. So the difference is, if you have the full vaccination plus the booster, you can quarantine in your place of residence. If you don't, you're going to have to quarantine at an official government appointed place if you're coming from one of these dangerous designated countries. If you're not from one of those dangerous designated countries and you're fully vaccinated with the booster, obviously you can also quarantine at home, but you can also quarantine in your home or residence even if you don't have that booster shot, that 3rd shot. So you can enter Japan and basically quarantine on your own reconnaissance if you've tested, of course, if you've tested negative at Narita or your port of entry to begin with. If you test positive, then you're going to have to go into a full-blown quarantine. But if you test negative upon arrival and you're from a non-designated safety country, then you will be able to quarantine in your own residence or home, basically, whether you're fully vaccinated, quote unquote, fully vaccinated or not. And so that means you have a lot less strict guidelines, but you still have to have that negative test on the 3rd day of your quarantine to be able to be considered to have completed your quarantine. Okay, if there's any questions or if anything is not clear, make a comment in the comment section below. If you're a student, good luck. We hope to see you at the beginning of the April school year. And thank you for watching this update video. Peace.